Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like quitting? Like no matter how hard you try, the results just aren't showing up? Maybe you've been working on a goal for months, even years, and you start to wonder, is it even worth it? Well, let me tell you something. Every successful person you admire has felt the exact same way. The difference? They didn't stop. They found a way to push forward when others gave up. You see, success is not about never feeling tired, frustrated, or discouraged. No, success is about finding a way to keep going even when you don't feel like it. It's about understanding that tough times don't last, but tough people do. So today I want to share with you how to stay motivated, how to keep going when you feel like quitting, and how to push through even when life gets tough. Because if you master this, you won't just reach your goals, you'll become the kind of person who can achieve anything. When the why is strong enough, the how becomes easier. That's the foundation of staying motivated. When everything inside you says, it's too hard, or maybe this isn't for me. The truth is, every great achiever, every successful entrepreneur, every person who has ever done something worthwhile has had moments where they wanted to quit. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's purpose. A strong enough reason will push you through the toughest times. Think about a mother working 2 jobs just to put food on the table for her kids. Do you think she wakes up every morning excited and energized? No, but she does it anyway because her why is bigger than her discomfort. Purpose creates persistence. If you ever feel like quitting, go back to the reason you started. Was it to create a better life? Was it to prove something to yourself? Was it to give your family opportunities you never had? If your motivation is fading, chances are your purpose has become blurry. It's time to refocus. A farmer doesn't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. He understands that there's a process, seasons of growth, that cannot be rushed. Yet many people get frustrated when they don't see immediate results. They go to the gym for a week and quit because they don't see muscles. They start a business and quit after a few months because they're not making 6 figures. But life doesn't work like that. There's a natural order to success, and if you respect the process, you'll reap the rewards. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself, just because you don't see the results yet doesn't mean they aren't coming. Winter doesn't last forever, and neither do tough times. The key is to keep moving. Even small daily wins create momentum. If you've ever pushed a heavy object, you know that the hardest part is getting it to move. But once it starts rolling, it's easier to keep going. That's how success works. If you're feeling unmotivated, don't focus on the entire mountain ahead of you. Just take the next step. Write 1 more page, make 1 more phone call, show up 1 more day. Those tiny steps compound over time, but let's be real, sometimes the weight of discouragement isn't just from within. Sometimes it comes from the people around us. If you surround yourself with negative voices, people who say, that'll never work, or you should just give up, guess what? Eventually you'll start believing them. That's why it's so important to protect your environment. Find people who lift you up. If you don't have them in your immediate circle, seek them out in books, podcasts, or mentors from afar. The voices you listen to will shape your future. If you want to stay motivated, make sure you're feeding your mind with inspiration, not doubt. And finally, let me leave you with this. Motivation is great, but it's not reliable. Some days you'll feel like conquering the world, and some days you won't even feel like getting out of bed. That's where discipline comes in. The most successful people don't always feel motivated. They've just trained themselves to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. A runner doesn't always feel like running, but they run anyway. A leader doesn't always feel confident, but they show up anyway. That's the difference between success and regret. So if you're feeling unmotivated today, remember this. Reconnect with your why. Trust the process. Take small steps. Surround yourself with the right people. And above all, do what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. Because your future self is depending on you not to quit. Life moves in seasons. Just like winter turns to spring and spring to summer, the difficult times you face will not last forever. But in the moment when you're struggling, it's easy to believe that things will never change. You feel stuck, as if no matter how hard you try, you're making no progress. And that feeling, the sense that your efforts aren't leading anywhere, is what makes most people quit. But here's the truth. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean the work you're doing isn't making an impact. Success follows the law of averages. If you plant enough seeds, something will eventually grow. If you take enough swings, you'll eventually hit the ball. But most people give up before they reach that point. They put in effort for a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, and when they don't see massive success, they assume it's not meant for them. They think, maybe I'm not talented enough, maybe I'm not lucky enough, maybe I should just stop. But what they fail to realize is that the moment they feel like giving up is often the moment right before the breakthrough. Imagine a miner digging for gold. He's been digging for days, weeks, months, and finds nothing. Frustrated, exhausted, he finally quits. But what he doesn't know is that just 3 feet away, hidden behind a final layer of rock, was the gold he had been searching for. If he had kept going just a little longer, he would have found it. And that's exactly what happens to so many people. They stop digging just before they strike gold. They stop trying just before success arrives. And they spend the rest of their lives wondering, what if I had just kept going? If you ever feel like quitting, remember that everything in life has seasons. No winter lasts forever. No struggle is permanent. But those who succeed are the ones who endure. They understand that even when times are tough, even when progress seems invisible, their efforts are adding up. They know that if they keep going, eventually the tide will turn in their favor. Take a look at the most successful people in the world, whether it's in business, sports, or any other field. Every single one of them went through seasons of struggle. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was told he had no creativity. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. Imagine if they had let those setbacks define them. Imagine if they had believed that their failures were a sign to stop. But they didn't. They kept going because they understood that failure is temporary, but quitting is permanent. Your journey will be the same. You will face obstacles. You will have moments where you doubt yourself. But if you trust the process and keep pushing forward, you will eventually reach the other side. The key is to remind yourself that struggles are not a signal to stop. They are a test of how badly you want it. Most people let hardships defeat them, but the successful ones use those hardships as fuel. They understand that every setback is setting them up for a greater comeback. So, when you feel like quitting, take a step back and remind yourself why you started in the first place. Remind yourself that no matter how difficult things seem now, they will not always be this way. Growth is happening, even if you can't see it yet. Progress is being made, even if it's not obvious. And if you have the courage to keep moving forward, if you refuse to let temporary struggles define your future, you will look back one day and realize that every moment of perseverance was worth it. Success is not built in a day. It is not the result of one massive effort, one lucky break, or one big decision. Instead, it is the outcome of small, consistent actions repeated over time. The problem is, most people underestimate the power of small daily wins. They assume that if they're not making dramatic progress, they're not making progress at all. But that's not how success works. Think about a massive boulder sitting on the ground. If you try to push it, at first it won't move. You push again, still nothing. You keep pushing day after day with no visible progress. Most people would walk away at this point, thinking it's pointless. But what they don't realize is that with each push, energy is building. Then one day, after enough effort, the boulder starts to shift. And once it starts moving, it picks up momentum. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible is now unstoppable. That's how progress works in life. If you're working towards something, a career goal, a financial goal, a health goal, it might feel like nothing is happening. You show up at the gym, but you don't see results. You start a business, but the sales aren't coming. You study every night, but the test scores don't improve. It's frustrating because you're putting in the effort, but you don't see the reward. This is where most people quit. They assume their work isn't paying off. But what they don't realize is that success doesn't come in an instant. It builds up over time, just like the boulder. There's a reason why some people seem to achieve more in life. It's not because they're necessarily smarter or luckier. It's because they keep showing up. They understand that every small step forward adds up. The first workout might not make a difference, but the 100th one will. The first sales call might not bring success, but the 100th one could change everything. The first book you read might not transform your thinking, but a lifetime of learning will. Small wins create momentum. When you make even a little progress, it gives you the confidence to keep going. That's why instead of focusing on the entire mountain ahead of you, focus on just taking the next step. If you want to lose weight, don't focus on the 50 pounds you need to lose, focus on the next workout. If you want to start a business, don't get overwhelmed by everything you have to do. Just take the next action. One step at a time, one day at a time, and before you know it, you'll have come further than you ever imagined. The biggest mistake people make is believing that if they can't do something big, it's not worth doing at all. But the truth is, small actions repeated daily are far more powerful than occasional bursts of effort. A person who exercises for 15 minutes every day will be in better shape than someone who works out for 2 hours once a month. A person who saves a little money consistently will build more wealth than someone who makes a lot of money but spends it all. The secret isn't in doing something extraordinary once, it's in doing something simple consistently. So if you feel unmotivated, if you feel like your efforts aren't making a difference, remind yourself that the process takes time. Your job is not to see instant results. Your job is to keep going. Push the boulder, take the next step, and trust that eventually momentum will take over. Because once you build momentum, nothing will be able to stop you. The people you surround yourself with shape your thoughts, your beliefs, and ultimately your future. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to the level of your environment. That's why one of the biggest reasons people lose motivation is because they are surrounded by the wrong voices. Imagine trying to light a fire while standing in the middle of a rainstorm. No matter how hard you try, the rain keeps putting it out. That's what happens when you surround yourself with negative people while trying to stay motivated. You have a dream, a goal, something you're excited about, but every time you share it, someone tells you why it won't work. They remind you of the risks, the failures, the difficulties. Over time, their doubt seeps into your mind, and before you know it, you start believing them. That's why so many people give up. Not because they lack the ability, but because they've allowed the wrong influences to shape their beliefs. If you want to stay motivated, you have to protect your environment. Think about it. If you spend time with 5 complainers, you'll become the 6th. If you spend time with 5 unmotivated people, you'll soon lose your drive. But if you surround yourself with 5 ambitious, disciplined, and focused individuals, their mindset will rub off on you. You won't even have to try. Just being around them will elevate your thinking. That's the power of influence. But what if the people around you are negative? What if your family, your friends, or your coworkers constantly bring you down? The first step is to become aware of it. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do they inspire you or do they drain you? Do they challenge you to grow or do they keep you stuck in the same patterns? Once you recognize who is adding to your life and who is taking away from it, you can start making conscious choices. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cut people off completely, but it does mean setting boundaries. You can still love and respect people without letting their negativity influence you. If someone is constantly doubting your dreams, stop sharing them with that person. If someone always complains, limit the time you spend with them. And most importantly, start filling your mind with positive influences. If you don't have successful, motivated people in your immediate circle, seek them out in books, podcasts, and online communities. You can learn from failure, but you don't have to experience it yourself. That means you can gain wisdom, motivation, and strategies from people you've never even met. Successful people understand this. They intentionally put themselves in environments that push them to grow. They join mastermind groups. They seek out mentors. They invest in learning because they know that motivation is not something you wait for. It's something you cultivate. And the easiest way to cultivate it is to surround yourself with people who are already where you want to be. If you've ever felt unmotivated, ask yourself this: who are you listening to? Who is influencing your thoughts and beliefs? If you want to change your life, start by changing your environment. Find people who inspire you. Learn from those who have achieved what you want. And most importantly, never let someone else's doubts become your reality. Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the story you choose to believe. Make sure the voices in your life are telling you the right one. Motivation is a powerful force, but it is also fleeting. Some days you wake up ready to take on the world. You're energized, you're inspired, and nothing can stand in your way. But other days, it's a struggle to get out of bed. You feel tired, unmotivated, and wonder why you even bothered. This is the reality of motivation. It comes and goes. It's unreliable. And if you rely solely on motivation to fuel your actions, you'll find yourself stuck in a constant cycle of bursts of energy followed by periods of inactivity. That's why discipline is so much more important than motivation. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your success. The key to staying motivated even when you feel like giving up is simple. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Instead, create a system of discipline that doesn't depend on how you feel in the moment. Think of discipline as a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weaker. But the more you work it, the stronger it becomes. And just like working out, the benefits of discipline aren't always immediate. The results come later, after consistent effort over time. One of the most powerful habits of successful people is their ability to take action, no matter how they feel. A successful entrepreneur doesn't wait for the perfect day to make a decision. A professional athlete doesn't wait for the perfect mood to show up for practice. A writer doesn't wait for inspiration to strike. They show up because they know that the act of doing is what creates momentum. Motivation doesn't start in your head. It starts in your actions. If you want to cultivate discipline, start by committing to small daily habits, whether it's getting up at the same time each day, writing one page of a book, making one phone call, or working out for just 10 minutes. The key is consistency. These small actions might not seem like much at first, but over time they add up. They create a pattern of behavior that becomes automatic. You won't have to think about it. You'll just do it. And when you show up consistently, motivation starts to follow. The more you work your discipline muscle, the more automatic it becomes to take action, regardless of how you feel. One of the best examples of this is in the world of sports. Take a basketball player. During the season, he's going to have off days. He's going to feel tired, sore, or unmotivated. But what separates the good from the great is the ability to show up anyway. The great players don't wait for motivation to strike. They go to practice whether they feel like it or not. And that consistency leads to mastery. The same applies to any goal you pursue. You might not feel like putting in the work today, but if you show up anyway, you're one step closer to your goal. Another powerful truth is that your feelings are not always an accurate reflection of your abilities. We often feel like we can't do something because we're tired, overwhelmed, or unsure. But the truth is, your potential isn't determined by your emotions. It's determined by your actions. When you rely on motivation alone, you let your feelings control your actions. But when you rely on discipline, you take control of your feelings. You push through the discomfort and do what needs to be done, even when it doesn't feel good. Discipline is what helps you power through the tough times. When things get hard, when motivation is nowhere to be found, discipline is what keeps you going. It's the force that helps you keep your promises to yourself when everything else is telling you to quit. And it's what turns dreams into reality. So, the next time you feel like giving up, remember that motivation isn't the key to success. It's discipline. It's showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, and when it's inconvenient. Because that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Success isn't about feeling motivated all the time. It's about doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And if you can master discipline, you'll find that motivation will follow. And you'll achieve more than you ever imagined.